tutorial on how to do stage makeup. I tried making one last week and my lighting was terrible, so I came here to the studio so I can watch myself in the mirror and hopefully do a better job than I did doing it into my webcam. So I'm just going to put on makeup and talk, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't take too long. Just so you know, I'll probably make a lot of mistakes because I'm kind of out of practice. So I'm just starting with foundation, just like you would normally for street makeup. These chairs are really low. I feel like a tiny child at this table. That or the table's really high, I'm not sure. Okay, make sure foundation goes into the neckline. Obviously use a brush for this, but I'm lazy. And concealer, I just put it under my eyes because I have dark circles. And then wherever else you need. I'm going to wait to put on powder until the very end because powder helps to set your makeup. So what I'm actually going to do next is my eyes, and starting with eyebrows. You want your eyebrows to make just a solid line, each one, and not look necessarily like natural brows. So I'm just going to take let me show this kind of a brown eyeshadow. It's the closest to my natural color. And I'm just using a kind of angle brush here. And I'm just filling in my brows where they're naturally very light. Basically like I would do for every day, except more solid. You can wing your eyebrows out a little bit to like where that angle is. Generally the rule is the bigger the theater, the more extreme your eye makeup is. We're only using the main floor of the fox, so it's not like a huge space, but it's big enough that we're doing full stage makeup for levels C and up, maybe even B and up. I haven't decided as of time of recording, but I am going to try to show variations for how younger kids should be doing their makeup. Okay, so here's my eyebrows. They're not radically different, they're just a little bit darker, and they don't peter out to nothing at the end like my real ones do. Alright, so next we're going to do eyes. Eyes are tricky because they're very different from street makeup, so I'm just going to show you how I do it. The first thing you want to think about is highlight. I'm going to use this shade that's kind of like my natural skin tone, but maybe a little bit shimmery is fine. And I'm going to actually highlight my whole eyelid. This will be a little bit different for the younger girls because the point of doing this is to be more complicated later on. This is also not stage makeup. This is Maybelline powder eyeshadow. If you want to splurge and get real stage makeup, it's designed to like stand out on your skin and not be absorbed into it. It'll just kind of pop more, and that's fine. But I'm cheap and I'm not dancing anymore, so I'm using like ELF, Wet n Wild, Maybelline, CoverGirl, you know, the goods. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is my eyes. Now this is a pencil, and I don't recommend using pencil for your eyeliner, but I left mine at home because I wasn't thinking. So this is what was at the studio. So the main thing with eyes for eyeliner is that we're trying to make the eyes appear wider, larger, and more expressive. And so the idea of the lines is that they are sort of elongating the eyelashes and creating space vertically through the eye. So here's how I should do that. I like to start actually on the outside. I think I started my line a little low. And I try to wing my line a little bit far up. This is down, that's terrible. So I'm going to take some cold cream, invest in this stuff. It's brilliant. It just takes everything off. Liquid eyeliner, red lipstick, waterproof makeup, nothing can stand in its wake. Okay, so I'm going to try to put my line a little bit higher. I do like to do a little bit of a lift so that there's no like space between my eyelashes and the line. I hate using pencil, so I usually use cream eyeliner. It has a little tiny brush. It gives you the same look as liquid. It's very sharp and very defined, but it's so much easier to manage than liquid, and it's just better than pencil. Pencil's bad. Okay, so let's try going up and angling down. That's better. Okay, and then on the bottom, I want this line to have space between the top and the bottom, and it's going to be roughly like a parallel line to the top. So start here. This pencil's not half bad. This is Lancome. Okay, it's not awesome, but it's not terrible. And you can see already that this eye looks much larger than this one, and also looks more open. This eye now looks droopy by comparison. So I'm going to do the other eye, and you can see maybe a little bit clearer because this eye is closer. My right eye usually ends up being a lot better than my left eye. I'm not sure why, because I'm left-handed. Maybe it's because I can brace my hand against my chin, and I can't do that with this hand. Okay, I'm sure Kristen's already done this with the older girls. In fact, I know she has. But I think a lot of younger kids haven't had this like specific training. And there's a lot of misconceptions about how eye makeup in particular is supposed to work. Now, this line, I don't know if you can see, but it's not super like sharp. It's kind of like splotchy a little bit because of the pencil. It was hard to make it like nice and thin and crisp like you would get if you were using cream or liquid and were good at it. It's possible to get an okay line with pencil. It's just much harder. And I haven't used pencil eyeliner since like probably middle school. Okay, more or less. So the reason I do my eyeliner now before my eyeshadow is because where my eyeshadow goes, is actually kind of determined by where my top line is. So the eyeshadow that's dark, for the older girls anyway, is just going to be in the crease. That's why we highlighted here, because we want the eye to be bigger, and anything that's highlighted is going to be bigger. Anything that's in shadow is going to look smaller. So I don't want to make my whole eye shrink. I'm just going to give this sort of sense of hollowing out my crease by drawing this almost like almond shape across. Usually I do my left eye first. This is weird. Starting on my right. Maybe that's why my right eye is always better as it gets practice. Okay, and then I'm just going to blend into the crease. Like you can literally stick your brush into the hollow of the bone and wiggle it around. Don't recommend doing that with tiny children, of course. For younger kids, instead of doing this line thing, because that's going to feel very weird to them, this is a really dark brown, take a lighter shade, like, oh, I have one out earlier. A more medium color brown. You can see the difference. This is the one I'm using. This is what you would use for younger kids, so elementary creative movement, ballet A. And you would just do the whole lid like that up into the crease, but not extending beyond it, rather than doing the highlighted bit, just because this is a little bit tricky, especially if you've got kids with twitchy eyes. when you do their makeup. It takes some practice for them to develop the ability to stay still and not blink or twitch. I was a twitchy eye person until I started doing my own makeup. I was around 7th grade maybe. I started doing it for myself because my mom didn't want to deal with it. Okay, so because this is powder, it's not giving me as strong of a line as I would like it's basically disappearing as I blend it. What I would normally do if I were doing this for real is I would add water to my brush and mix it into the powder, and that's going to give it a little bit more sharpness and a little bit more permanency. But like I said, I'm trying to be kind of quick. And if it ends up kind of splotchy like it is, I'm going to go back over it with my highlight on the lid. And I'm also going to use a skinny angle brush again, make sure I get all of the dark color off of it. And I'm going to highlight with pure white. There is a white on this palette. The white can have a little bit of shimmer. You don't really want your shadows to shimmer, but the white can. And I'm going to go under the brow bone. Actually, I can use this one for that. And again, if I were doing this in real life, I would probably add water to this, or even I would use like a crayon eye pencil in white. And then you go inside corner of the eye, and then right in between the lines, which just helps give the sense of whiteness and separation and brightness. We want the eyes to look open and expressive because in ballet in particular, the eyes are the most important feature on the face. They communicate a lot of your emotion and intention to the audience. Okay, also notice my lines are not actually the same width. This line is a little bit wider than this one. If I were really doing this, I would try to make them the same width. Probably this one is the one I like better. You can play with it and see what works for you. And you can also see if you look really close, this is another problem with pencil, is it tends to like rub off into any existing creases in your eyes, whereas liquid and cream don't do that. So another reason not to use pencil. Stay. Okay. That's basically eyes, and that's the hardest part. So from here on out, it's like smooth sailing. Okay, so we're going to move down to cheeks, and the color of your blush is really important. This is the color I have been using for my everyday blush, and then this would be the color I would use for stage. It's a little bit darker and a lot more vibrant. Because just using regular color blush and putting more on is not the same as using a color that's going to stand out more. In terms of application, it's the same as what maybe you do for everyday makeup. You go on the cheekbone. If you don't know where your kid's cheekbone are, have them do a fishy face. They'll love it. And you just apply right over the bone. You don't want to go too low, like you don't want to go below the nose. You don't want to go further in than the center of the eye. And if anything, it almost wants to be a slight like triangle shape, starting from the hairline and pulling in. You also do want it to blend. Just because we want it to be bright doesn't mean that it gets to be this giant pink stripe on your face. You do want to go a bit up and down, but again, don't go like absolutely nuts or your kid's just going to look like they have an enormous rash. There's that again. One of the problems with cold cream is you've got to like rub it off too, because it is greasy, and so if you kind of leave it on after you use it to erase a mistake, it's probably going to help pull some of your makeup off that you don't necessarily want to get rid of. Okay, and do a little bit more blush. I don't know if you can see on the video how bright this is. I've got quite a lot on. It should look unnatural. It should not just fade in. A good rule for seeing if you've got enough makeup on for stage is actually to walk to like the end of a hallway if there's a mirror on the other end and like look at yourself from far away and see if all your features show up. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, look at what color I want to use. I'm going to pick medium brown. Oh, no, I've got this bronzer. Okay, next thing I have to do for cheeks is contour. And this is not necessary for creative movement. It's not necessary for elementary, not necessary for ballet A. Ballet B, you take it or leave it. C and up definitely do this. Contouring is important because just having pink cheeks is not going to necessarily make your face look sculptured and normal. You just kind of look like a round circle with pink on it. So I use a fairly narrow brush, and you want to hollow out the cheekbones. I do kind of a dark line, and I'm going a little bit low. That's not necessary. I should be going a little more horizontal, and then blend it. This doesn't like to blend. It's the problem with using eyeshadow as, well, this is an eyeshadow, but this is actually a bronzer. Sometimes I just use fingers. Okay, let's try the other side. Start with just like a line, and that goes right underneath the cheekbone. Here's my cheekbone, here's the line, because it's supposed to be the shadow, just like, you know, Kardashians do or whatever, but probably a little more simplistic. Hopefully you end up with something that looks more like a shadow and less like an actual line across your face. I'm going to try with just the brush. That's actually giving me a better look. So you want to kind of see that hollow a little bit in your cheeks, and again that helps to define your face and make it look more sculptured. And you can add bronzer other places. I usually do my temples. Some people do their chin or their jawline or whatever. Those are things that when you get more advanced and more familiar with like what shape you want your face to make, then I'm just doing basics. Okay, speaking of basics and things that I should mention, for eyeliner, what I'm showing again is the full stage makeup. I don't want creative movement or elementary or ballet A to do the lower line just because I know it's going to be really difficult, and I would rather the students have a positive experience in the concert than have makeup running down their faces because they were crying from putting it on. So when it comes to the eye makeup in particular, just do the best you can, and whatever you can achieve is good enough. So again, for the younger students, it's not this single line here and highlight, but just medium brown over the whole lid. Try to do the top line if you can, leave the bottom line off. Eyebrows are still important, and what else works well if you have really, really blonde hair is to take an eyebrow pencil, like a brown, and trace around the hairline. And that's going to give your kid a separate hair from face look so that they don't look bald on stage. So those are some things for younger students. Okay, back to normal. I'm going to do I'm going to do eyelashes and lips at the same time because your eyelash glue needs to set for a couple minutes before you can actually stick your eyelashes on your face. This is one of the things that make fake eyelashes tricky to apply, is because a lot of people put the glue on and then try to stick it right to their face, and then the eyelash falls off. What did I do wrong? Eyelash glue takes a couple minutes to get tacky. I've used these before. Usually I just rinse them in warm soapy water after I've used them, and then they're good to go again. You usually have to cut eyelashes a little bit narrower than how they come. They come a little bit too wide for most people's eyes, and that's fine. I don't know what size these are, but like demi size is fine. And it's not too difficult to apply a thin layer here. You just squeeze gently until a very thin layer of glue comes, and it'll want to clump right on the edge where you apply it to your eye. I'm just going to let that sit for a second if I can get it off of me. Oh no! Let go, it's like a little spider web. Go away. Okay, making this video too long. Where did my other eyelash go? Maybe I'll only put one on. I swear I had it just a moment ago. I'll pause the video and start again when I find it. Found it! Okay, I'm going to put glue on this one too. I hope you can see this. What if I hold it up like this? Oh, got a little bit clumpy. There we go. Okay, so it makes this kind of thin white line if you've got white eyelash glue. The kind of generic stuff that comes with your eyelashes is usually white, but sometimes you get like a little tiny thing and that's like clear or something. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to do lips. I've already put chapstick on my lips because it just is better. And I'm going to line my lips, and I'm going to fill them in with the liner as well, because that makes my lipstick stay on a little bit better. It's very quiet. I can hear the lights buzzing. Okay, and I'm going to blot it because I blot everything. Okay, let's try this lipstick. This is just pure red, and I want everyone to use pure red except for Elementary. Elementary can go for more of a rosy pink, which did I leave it out of my bag? Yeah, left it out of my bag. Anyway, it's going to be similar to this blush color that I'm using, a bit darker than this, not purple, not brown, but like a deep rosy pink, almost like the color of my shirt here, is fine for creative movement and Elementary, but Ballet A through Ballet F should use just a true red. Okay, and we blot. I'm going to do a second coat. We blot again. And then you do the finger trick to make sure you don't get lipstick on your teeth. In terms of lipstick shade, this one is shiny. This is just something I found here at the studio. I would recommend going for a matte shade, something that's flat, not gloss, and definitely not frosted. Matte shades are generally going to be the nicest looking on stage because you don't want light reflecting off of your lips. That's a little odd. Okay, so now I'm going to do my eyelashes because this glue is probably plenty tacky by now. And I try to get it as close to the lash line as possible, like right over the line I drew. Some people do their eyeliner after their eyelashes. I do mine before, just in case I get my eyelashes too far away from my real ones, so I don't have like a little gap looking thing. Just hold it, take away very carefully. Okay, same with the other eye. If there's anywhere you want to have a lot of glue, it's the corners, because my eyelashes tend to fly off the outside corner. But then this one is like a clump of glue, so that was too much. It'll dry clear-ish, but like from close up, you'll still be able to see when it dries that it's clumpy, so it's kind of gross looking. Okay, so false eyelashes are only going to be for levels B through F. Creative Movement, Elementary, and Level A, don't put on fake eyelashes, you don't need them. But do put on mascara 2 coats. And even if you do have false eyelashes, put mascara on over it, because that's going to help your real eyelashes and your fake ones kind of blend together seamlessly, like they're all the same thing. This one is not applied very well. Let's see if this one goes very better. Okay, and then we do our bottom lashes too. For younger students, again, if it's a question of applying mascara or having a positive experience in the concert, go for what's going to give your child a positive experience rather than what's going to cause mascara to stream down their tearful cheeks. Just do the best you can, and if their makeup isn't complete, it's going to be fine. Okay, so that's basically stage makeup. Once again, this is the full stage makeup. I'm going to go over the variations again. Lips, everyone gets red except for Creative Movement and Elementary, which get a rose pink. Think like fuchsia, magenta, but don't think purple, because that's going to make your lips look brown on stage. It's not very attractive. For cheeks, if you're in Level A, Creative Movement, or Elementary, you don't need to contour. Level B, you can contour or not. You can experiment with it if you want to. But Level C, D, E, F, definitely contour. For eyes, don't do the bottom line if you're Creative Movement, Elementary, or Ballet A. Don't do fake eyelashes if you're Creative Movement, Elementary, or Ballet A. And for this single crease line, that also for B and up, younger students can just do a medium brown shade over the whole lid and call it good, although if you want to add another little bit of highlight underneath on the lid, that's fine too. Make sure you got your eyebrows nice and solid, and if you've got white blonde hair, take a little eyebrow pencil and trace around your hairline so that you don't look bald in your bun. And with that said, I think I'm going to turn off this video because I also am going to do a hair tutorial for people who are concerned about bun making. So I will see you there. Bye! This is a postscript to the makeup video because I forgot to put out powder. I said at the beginning that I like to put powder on at the end. The danger in that is that you will actually forget to put powder on like I did. Powder is just a way of kind of setting your makeup, and I like to use loose powder because I think it's the best. And normally I have a much bigger powder brush. This is my blending brush, but I don't have my powder brush here. So I would just like take powder and pat it all over my face. And I like to like dab it this way because that sets your makeup. I've obviously taken my makeup off, but just pretend I have stage makeup on still. I just like to whip that stuff off as soon as possible. And that's just a good way of setting your makeup and also making your face not appear so shiny. I don't use the little poof thing because it's not very sanitary after several tries. I'm just a brush person. I also found my pink lipstick. So this is the shade, a shade that I would recommend for younger dancers. As you can see, it's rosy pink. It's pretty similar to the color of my shirt. You don't want it to be dark like burgundy. You don't want it to be purple or brown. You just want it to look like rose pink. It could be brighter than this actually, depending on the skin tone of the kid. Really pale kids can go for a little bit more of a coral or peachy pink. You just don't want it to be lighter. So I like to say bright rather than light because I get these kind of very pale pinks that are not going to show up on stage. Think we have to put so much color onto your face so that your face is visible under the stage lights because it just completely washes you out. So this very vivid, well, that's hard for me to say today, vivid pink is going to be a lot better than having a light like Barbie pink. So think of the like 80s fuchsia lipstick that was so awesome back in the day, and that'll help direct you. All right, so I think that's officially it. I'm going to sign off, and good luck with your makeup.